keynote addresses are supposed to provide the key to unlock the door that hides the treasure trove of knowledge hidden from public view. And we have a very eminent person in our midst to do that, Dr. Rajan Varghese, Member Secretary, Kerala State Higher Education Council, and former PVC, MG University. Sir, I most humbly invite you for the keynote address.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm very happy and in a sense privileged to associate with the two-day faculty development program organized by the Bishop Moore College, Mavelikara, on a topic which is very central to examination reforms in the country. And Bishop Moore College, as we know, has emerged as a major seat of learning or a center of learning in higher education in the state, thanks to the visionary steps taken by the founding fathers of the college and also very vibrant academic community of teachers in the college. I have visited the college on a couple of occasions in connection with the memorial lecture of the physics department, I think, and I'm very proud of the my association with the college. And coming to our topic, the need for examination reforms in the changing scenario. As the minister has pointed out, we are discussing all these things in the backdrop of two important developments. One is you had the COVID induced lockdown all over the world, and our country is also affected. But most of our discussions center around the economic impact of this COVID on the system, and the impact of this lockdown on higher education or education in general is not properly discussed in the country. And Kerala is the only state which was able to revive academic activities both at the school and the college level on the first day of June itself. And at the school level, we have registered a tremendous success in reviving the classes, mainly because of the system that was built over a period of time in the school education. But in the higher education system, we were actually facing the problem of conducting examinations. Our first priority was for conducting or completing the unfinished examinations, especially in the final year. The final year PG, final semester PG, and the final and the other semesters in the UG level. And some of the universities, they have completed it. Others are trying to complete it in one way or another. That's also based on the directives and recommendations of central agencies like UGC. And during this COVID period, the council also initiated several important discussions. One with regard to the new policy that the state should adopt or higher education institutions should adopt in the context of this lockdown. And in the state of Kerala, we have 14 state universities. And as per the survey conducted by the Higher Education Council, we have nearly 1,474 higher education institutions, mainly comprising of colleges, affiliated colleges in the government aided and the self-financing sector. So the higher education system in Kerala is led by the public universities, and at the affiliation level, college level, it is dominated by the self-financing colleges, both in the arts and science sector and in the professional sector. The number of aided institutions and government institutions, they are only 1/3 of the total institutions in the country. And the minister has also noted about enrollment. Though the enrollment of Kerala in higher education is higher than the national average, in the neighboring states, the enrollment is very high. It's mainly because of other factors. In the smaller states like Delhi or Haryana or Chandigarh, or in the neighboring state Tamil Nadu, the enrollment is in the vicinity of 50%, 48 to 50%. This is actually a phenomenon created by the unregulated expansion of the private sector, especially the professional sector. But in Kerala, the development of higher education is a public sector led expansion. So we have several important strengths. At the same time, we have several weak links in the higher education system. And our effort is to strengthen the institutions and at the same time to provide quality higher education to all sections of society. And we are for this following the directions of central agencies like UGC, and also we have the state level agency like the Higher Education Council, which is advising the state government and the universities. And in 2006, Kerala established the Higher Education Council, and the council made several important initiatives. And the major initiative was revamping of the curriculum. In 2009, based on UGC directives, the curriculum of all universities, especially at the UG level, were revised. And also in the subsequent years, PG curriculum was also revised. So Kerala has a checkered history of curriculum reform based on the national framework unfolded by the UGC Curriculum Committee. And also we adopted several other important initiatives to suit the regional requirements. So Kerala's history of higher education development is closely linked to the revision or the revamping of our curriculum at the UG and the PG level. At the UG level, we introduced the CBCSS or the credit semester system with a fair degree of success. Of course, it has its limitations, but we moved very fast in implementing major recommendations of a committee appointed by the council, and the committee was headed by a scientist at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Dr. M. Vijayan. And that committee's recommendations were implemented in almost all affiliating universities. Also, you should keep in mind the fact that in Kerala, we have 14 universities, and out of the 14 universities, only 4 of them are affiliating universities. Others are, in a sense, discipline-based universities. So the entire burden of teaching, learning in affiliated colleges falls on the shoulders of these 4 universities: University of Kerala, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, University of Calicut, and Kannur University. And 99% of our arts and science colleges are affiliated to these institutions. Of course, we have the Technological University, in which all the engineering colleges are affiliated. We have the Medical University, where all the medical institutions, colleges, nursing colleges, all these institutions are affiliated. So my point is, the examination reforms that we are thinking of today or discussing today is closely linked to the curriculum reforms. First, every university has to initiate curriculum reforms, and based on these curriculum reforms, we have to move to the examination reforms. And examination reforms, it has got two important aspects. One is the curricular aspect, and other is the technological aspect, how this is being carried out or executed in the universities and colleges with the help of modern technology. But the most important factor is the curriculum reform. Only through initiating timely curriculum reforms, you can think of moving to the level of examination reforms. And Council has again discussed this issue, and we have come out with several suggestions which are going to be given to the universities and the government. Our main point is universities should undertake the task of total revamping of the existing examination system that is heavily dependent on descriptive accounts and ability of students to remember. They should take care of assessing higher levels of cognition, analytical faculty, language power, and creativity too. Mere shift to OMR evaluation system dependent on multiple choice questions alone will not be of any use. It is essential to adopt technology or tools sophisticated enough to be perfect alignment with outcome-based education. Actually, Council has been in the forefront of giving trainings to our teachers and also the members of the Board of Studies with regard to the art and science of outcome-based education, with the help of experts from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. We have conducted extensive training program for teachers of different stream and also members of the Board of Studies in different universities. We have completed that process. Assessment methods have to be based on Bloom's action verbs, adequate for ascertaining the knowledge categories and the cognitive levels. Teachers have to frame questions with action verbs targeted to capture understanding of each knowledge categories and cognitive levels separately or in combination. Different values have to be assigned to cognitive knowledge categories and cognitive levels in order to evaluate the demonstration in the answers as the proof of attainment of the level. Examiners have to set the criteria for identifying the perfection in attainment at each level and evolve criteria-related assessment method for the graded evaluation of students. Institutions and governments have to bring about necessary changes in the organizational structure for facilitating the OBE-based evaluation as the new normal in the higher education institutions. Questions are powerful guides that direct students to think in certain ways. Every question creates an internal frame of reference or perspective triggered by the words used to ask it. Question should demand the intended learning outcome. It should be to recollect facts or to illustrate a concept or to apply a theory or to examine one's own understanding or to evaluate a theory or to criticize a theory or to modify a theory or to reject a theory or substitute a theory. Questions should demand the students to perform by way of remembering facts, understanding concepts, applying procedures, making self-reflection, identifying a system or structure, analyzing the system into its constituents, reconstructing the constituents into other possible structures, evaluating the system and creating new system. Questions should test the attainment of all outcome intended of the course and the program. Questions should be given weightage on the basis of the level of cognition intended. The highest weightage is to be given to the cognitively most challenging question. And we have to distribute the weights in terms of marks or points. And we have preset the model or the structure pattern with the questions framed on the basis of suitability. There should be software packages based on the taxonomy available. Actually, the Mahatma Gandhi University has already designed a software to test this cognitive and knowledge level in different questions, and based on that they have given weightage. Some of the autonomous colleges are also making use of this new software in line with the outcome based education. Actually, it is high time we have given up the system of centralized examination. It is not immediately possible. Universities have to establish technologically updated proctored centers for the conduct of examinations assured of reliability and quality. These centers should be use internet-based, electronically sophisticated devices like e-ink writers that can cover different ways of testing students' comprehension and cognitive levels. It is advisable to use e-ink tablets amenable to online delivery of questions, perception, and instant evaluation. They should enable introduction of anytime examination. They should require only a few examination booths open over a fixed period of flexibility. Students could register their preferred slot, do the examination, and get the results on the spot. So this is a suggestion for introduction of anytime examination. Various foolproof procedure ensuring confidentiality can be evolved by the university as required by the pedagogic requirements of knowledge field and potentialities of the technology. So our universities, they should immediately take up the task of revamping the examination system based on a revision of their curriculum. And the council is also helping the universities in this regard. We are actually giving training to all the teachers in the art and science of online teaching and learning. We have already conducted the training program for teachers in the science stream, and we have also conducted the same for the teachers of the humanities and the art stream. And we are going to conduct this conduct this training, and by the end of the year, we are going to train at least 2,500 teachers in the online education. And the point is, online education is not a perfect substitute. In the coming days, we have to design curriculum in the hybrid manner or the blended form, where you have both online component and face-to-face teaching. So examination has to be modified accordingly. So the point is, an effort is taken at the state level to train our teachers with the use of tools or the technology associated with online learning. And the council is also building a digital repository of learning resources for the benefit of teachers and students in the state. We have already uploaded large number of data related to the teaching or the syllabi of various courses on our website provided by teachers of affiliated colleges. So like the national level digital repository, the state is going to build its own digital repository of learning resources in higher education for the benefit of our teachers and students. And finally, all this depends on the digital communication facility or ICT infrastructure available in the institution and the access to this technology by the students and the teachers. So, though the mobile usage in Kerala is of a high order, it is reported that in higher education sector, the accessibility of online teaching, online method is very poor, even in several cities. So this is a big problem, and the council is conducting a survey of IT infrastructural facilities available in all the higher education institutions in the state. We have uploaded the questionnaire online in the council portal, and we solicit the cooperation of all the colleges and teachers in this regard. You kindly upload the data with regard to the digital preparedness or the infrastructure available in your institution. Based on this survey, the council will be submitting recommendations to the government of Kerala, which may help the colleges or the universities to upgrade their existing infrastructure facilities. In the universities and the colleges, we may have 1 or 2 smart classrooms. What we require today is smart teachers for that purpose, what is required is training, and that should be assisted with the state-of-the-art technology. It's by which we can impart quality higher education to our students in the state. So the point is, the emphasis is on curriculum reforms. Curriculum reforms is closely linked with examination reforms, and in curriculum, our emphasis is on outcome-based education. This should be reflected in the framing of questions also. The software has to be developed. And the final point is the technological development in examination should be from within. Every institution, every university and college should develop its own IT infrastructure. It should not be outsourced. It should be created from within. And the attempt should be incremental in nature. Or you should not go in a single go for all reforms. Modernization and computerization of the examination week in the universities and colleges should be incremental, which will be beneficial, and the result will be long lasting. These are some of my observations at this point of time. I thank the organizers of this program, especially the principal of the college, Dr. Jacob Chandy, the coordinator of the program, Dr. Sajeev VP, and the convener, Dr. Varghese and Kurian, and all the faculty members of the college. And I also wish best academic future for the college. And I thank all the participants, especially the people from other parts of our country, for participating in this program, and council solicit the academic cooperation of all the faculty members and institutions in its endeavor to provide quality higher education in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very sagacious, scholarly, and comprehensive keynote address. Thank you.